line would hold, the party line did not hold, and so consequently she said, uh, a pox on all your houses. I'm going to go out and I'm going to create something that's independent, something that we can control, our own beliefs, our stances and stuff. And so she went out along with others and started this thing called the Tequila Party. And soon after the Tequila Party, her and this other young lady from Arizona, her name is Miss Didi Garcia Blaze, got together and they created another party. Again, using the same reasons that they were very upset and not comfortable at all with the Democrat and Republican Party, and they created this party called Somos Independence. And so, Shirley, welcome, and thank you so much for taking that long trip from Lincoln down here to Omaha.
It's my pleasure.
Why don't you introduce yourself to the world, let's say, and just tell us a little bit about yourself, your background, and then we'll get into some of the major issues regarding Somos Independent.
Okay. I had been a long-time Democrat since the McGovern days. However, my mother, her brothers and sisters, back in the 40s, were first registered as Republicans. Because back in the 40s, in western Nebraska, the Republicans were the only ones that were actually inclusive of Mexican Americans. Now, fast forward to my 18th birthday, real proud, went and registered as a Democrat. We were pro-McGovern. We certainly were very active as a family, canvassing for candidates. And was pretty happy with John Kennedy and what he believed in and what Lyndon Johnson did for civil rights. Then we fast forward to the Republican Party in the 80s with Reagan. And Reagan was actually had some deficits, but certainly had a vision when it came to business. And he was the last president that properly addressed the immigration issue and allowed people that had been here, hardworking, law-abiding people, to adjust their status through fines and through the process of adjustment. Now, that was back in 1980. Now, let's fast forward to 9/11. After 9/11, we had certain individuals in the government. Ashford, Chris Kobach was working as Ashford's assistant. That was their opportunity to get repressive in regards to immigrants that were coming from south of the border.
So who's Chris Kobach now?
Well, Chris Kobach is a, well, he's been many things. He was a law professor. He was a fellow in the Ashford administration when Ashford was the Attorney General in the Bush administration. Now, Chris Kobach, his thesis for his PhD, JD, he wrote about how America would change, drastically change, and the white establishment would lose their power if they allowed the Latinos coming from south of the border to become citizens. And so this has been in the works for a lot of years. He's also the legal counsel for FAIR, who has a history of being created by individuals that believe in white superiority. Although I've personally litigated against him and asked him what his preferences were in regards to the white race. and he uh, clearly denied that he had no bigotry in his bones. However, if you look at his history, he was very active in the Arizona anti-immigration legislation. He also was, and across the United States, he also was very active in the Fremont Ordinance, has made millions of dollars with his anti-immigration legislation and rhetoric. He's currently the Secretary of State of Kansas and is the author of many anti-immigrant legislation and laws, and currently was the architect for the voter ID law that they have in Kansas that's very repressive. Anyway, Dede Garcia Blaze was a staunch Republican, and I was the liberal Democrat, although I'm very conservative on certain issues. However, it was a Republican white male that introduced us. And at that time, she was a Republican, I was a Democrat, and we were both very unhappy with our respective parties and the lack of leadership in regards to immigration reform, the DREAM Act, and adjusting missed status families. So we come together and we decided that we needed to address the Tea Party and all its xenophobic rhetoric and repressive legislation that they were attempting to get passed. And we had quite a bit that was attempted to be passed here in Nebraska. So we decided that we're going to create this party that we called Tequila, because we needed a shot for change.
That was good.
It was a, tongue-in-cheek tagline, but what we found was there were a lot of Republicans and Democrats and independents that were very unhappy with the lack of proper leadership in regards to immigration reform and comprehensive immigration reform, and could not understand why a mixed status family, and what a mixed status family is one parent is not a citizen and the other parent is a U.S. citizen. And the children born here are U.S. citizens. However, that one parent, it's almost impossible for them to adjust if they come from south of the border. Now, if they're from Europe, much easier, much easier. But if you're an immigrant from the Philippines or from Mexico, you're basically screwed. And this was not by chance. If you are a Mexican immigrant who has a U.S. citizen spouse and you came here undocumented, it takes quite a procedure to adjust. Now, what I don't understand is, depending on which country you come from, determines how long your wait's going to be. Not fair. Not fair. And clearly, the way it's set up, it is the bias against people from south of the border is just unbelievable.
Okay, let me, because I think it's important, and it's kind of like the first time I'm hearing it, okay?
Mm-hmm.
We're talking about after 9/11 and Chris Kobosh and his thesis. And in his thesis, he predicted that if they didn't slow down the immigration, that they would, the white America would eventually lose their power. Okay. Am I right so far?
You're exactly right.
All right, so this is part of a stratagem. In other words, whatever goes on, including the Fremont issue. All of these things are part of the fight against Kobosh's belief that an unfettered immigration to the United States was going to threaten their dominance. And he's pretty smart in that it's happening. We are in the transition period, but it gives, for the first time, for me anyway, it gives that this is not happenstance. What's going on is not happenstance. What's going on is planned, and it is part of the bigger picture.
Absolutely, absolutely. This has been, it's, what I call it is the slowing of the browning of America. And clearly, Latinas generally, we do not abort our children. We have our children. Our children are our future. So thus, if we have an unplanned pregnancy, we take that to birth. And so Kobach and FAIR and now they have a legal arm, which I don't remember what it is, immigration rights, I'm murdering it, I can't remember what it is, what it's called, but they have systematically attempted to force people to deport just by their policies.
Sure, we're going to take a quick break now and we'll be back in a second. Don't go away.
We're just taping it at the moment because the encoder blew up. Completely blew up.
When you started out, her head was right in front of the budget-icky, the plug-in, so you couldn't see it. And then you moved.
You talking about Cheryl?
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, do I need to just say, am I covering it up now?
No, you're fine.
It don't matter, I'll cover it
I
up.
just
You'll
had to
cover
adjust
it,
it.
you'll
You
cover
gotta,
it up.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
I'll cover
All right,
it.
okay.
yeah, what happened is you kind of shifted this way in the view. So you
okay.
have you're off to one side of the screen.
You should feel real guilty.
Yeah.
I do for a minute.
Shame on you. for not hiding that plug.
That's right.
It's all your fault.
I was gonna say something, forgot what it was.
There is an excellent article, I'll have to tag you on it, about Chris Kobach, and from the beginning. See, he is a Harvard,
Devil.
yeah, but he is a fucking brilliant devil.
Oh, I'm glad you dropped the F-bomb. I've been wanting to do it all day.
Oh, he
So
is
how long
brilliant.
do we have before we go on now?
We're not going live. Like I say, the encoder go out to the internet.
Okay, well,
it blew up.
Yeah,
Let's
it's
just go ahead and go to the next session.
Yep.
Yeah,
Okay, ready?
So
Yeah.
we can go anytime.
send that to me, because I want to know about him.
She's got to get in and
Like I
switch
said,
shift.
he's a
So just tell me when you're ready to go, Mom.
Shame on you.
Straighten up, you guys. Okay,
Welcome back to this
bye.
session. We're talking with Cheryl Mora. Cheryl is an attorney out of Lincoln, Nebraska. She's an advocate well, really Chicanos and Latinos. But she practices law. She does a lot of defense work and immigration work. So, Cheryl, when we left off the last session, we were talking about Chris Kobach and the fact that if his book, which I'd like to read it, by the way, if his thesis talks about the browning of America and the danger that it imposes upon society that has seen itself as dominant, and because it scares them. And out comes this xenophobia that they're talking about, and that's what's manifesting itself across the land. And that demographic fact, the demography, the fact that we now have over 50 million quote, Hispanic, Latinos, Chicanos, whatever. And we have so many people of color, blacks, native people, whatever. And now, as of August 22nd, the United States is now a majority-minority country. And I think it's only timely, it's almost Renaissance that somebody like you and Ms. Blaze are championing this new, it's like a new way to go. It's like it's very timely, and that it gives us another choice that is controlled, that is consistent of a certain thought process. And I don't think you're totally brown. You probably have other.
No, we have.
Yeah. So let's go ahead and let's talk about the Somos independence and their structure, their mission statement, and what have you.
Okay, all right. Somos Independence is a national group. We are independent, registered independents, led by Mexican American, Latina women. We also have leaders that are males. Our individuals are either originally Republicans or Democrats who have decided that what's most important is to educate, empower individuals to become active voters that vote for politicians that resonate with our issues. We organize voter registrations by targeting not only the elderly, but also our future, the millennials, and realize that the college age voters prefer to register as independents, ironically, than choosing any major political party. We believe in putting people before the party, and that the most important thing is to get all individuals who are eligible to vote, registered to vote, and to address the issues that affect the average American. And immigration is one of those issues. Education is another issue. And when someone asks us, well, you're pro-amnesty, aren't you? No, we're not. However, we are pro-family. And that includes family that have mixed statuses within that family. And we believe that all families should be kept together. And the father or the mother should not be deported. If they are a law-abiding citizen, they should have an opportunity to adjust. A lot of these families, their person that needs to be adjusted has been here between 10 to 30 years. They should be able to adjust. They're law-abiding. Some of them are property owners. Why do we make it difficult for families to exist in love and peace? It doesn't make any sense.
Well, that is so critical because you're putting the details into the into the equation here. It is very easy for this 30-second biter to say no amnesty, deport them all. But then when you start to break it down into the reality and the humanitarian component, there's nobody speaking to the humanitarian component except you, except individuals like yourself. I mean, we'll get into the candidates in a few minutes, but, because they have positions, the governor and all that. But right now, what you're saying and putting a face and a voice to it is that along with just the word amnesty, if you go ahead and say deport everybody who's undocumented, and if you're in a mixed status family, that chances are you're going to separate the families, or you're going to force an American by birth to have to go to a place that's totally foreign to them. And I don't think that's what America is all about. So, I'm sorry, go ahead, continue.
Okay, anyway, so we have decided to form the group Somos Independents. And Didi Garcia Blaze and myself are the co-founders of this organization. We are an independent organization because we want to have the ability to explain to individuals what and how important it is to vote. But more importantly, who should we be voting for as members of a mixed status family, as members who have been historically ignored by both parties, the Republicans and the Democrats. And I'm talking about Latinos, Chicanos, Hispanics, however you want to define us. We have never ever been a group that either party addressed our issues. All you have to do is, even on TV today, where are the Hispanics? On the talk shows, even the female talk shows, where are the Hispanics? They just recently brought a Puerto Rican actress on one of the female talk shows. Seriously? Seriously. Yeah, we're, unfortunately, you know, and the roles that we see out there in the media, you know, we're somebody's maids. Well, I ain't nobody maid. I am not nobody's maid, and will never be. And I have a lot of sisters that are not anybody's maids, and will never be. There's a lot of educated Latinas out there. There's a lot of educated Chicanas. There's a lot of educated Hispanic women out there. So basically, we believe that it is up to us as women to awaken the giant. And trust me, the giant has awakened. And within the next 10 years, we're going to have tens of thousands of eligible voters that are U.S. citizen born. We will have to be dealt with. Our issues have to be addressed by either party.
Cheryl, what is your movement like here in Nebraska? Is there a hierarchy? Is there a structure? Whom should you contact? It's like, is there a president of the state of Nebraska? Do you have membership fees, or what is it?
Okay, if you want to become a member of Somos Independents, you can contact Tony Lehal Wilson, and her email is tm@mora, M-O-R-A, James, James, law.com. That's her business email. And you can contact her via email. And we have monthly meetings. She is the president of the Nebraska Somos Independents. And we have members across the state, actually. And we just do one-to-one recruiting. We do have events to register people to vote. Actually, next Tuesday, I'm headed to Lexington to promote the young Latino who's running for legislature. That's Luis
Sotelo.
Sotelos. And we just, I mean, it is about finding politicians that address the basic issues: education, jobs, immigration. It's time to fix these problems that are fixable instead of using them as battering rams against a group of individuals who don't have the right to vote, and that's immigrants.
Good. Cheryl, I recently declared publicly that I was going to be a member of Somos Independence. But I haven't gotten to the registrar's office to change my registration to an independent. Is it necessary that you be an independent to belong to Somos Independence?
We would prefer that you are, but we welcome anybody that wants to join our group.
Good. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to take another break here as we go into our third session, and I think we'll get more or less into the politics that are happening on a statewide basis and on a local basis, both federal and state type offices that are being championed or whatever. People are becoming candidates. We'll be right back.
Europe.
Would you check to see if Dr. Sanchez is here?
Yeah. You guys are becoming like the Latino League of Women Voters, and this is good.
Well, but we have men, but they don't run it. We run it.
Well, no.
But we,
Well, if
like,
you're smart, you'll keep running it.
Well,
Oh, yeah, of
they
course.
make up. I just learned that there are more Latinas, or excuse me, females going to college than males.
Well, that doesn't surprise me.
Well, 153.
There are more females registered to vote than males.
It doesn't surprise me either. I'm always kidding Reynaldo about the fact he has a huge and very successful family. And I wonder when his grandparents and great-grandparents came here, in their wildest dreams, if they ever thought.
No, I don't think so.
It just,
Well, you gotta hear her story. With
It's-
her, with
my
her.
mom's got
I
a
mean-
5th grade education, worked the sugar beet fields in western Nebraska. I was told, I can't tell you how many times I was told that I should just be happy graduating from
Yeah.
high school.
And
Not
I-
from my family, but from,
yeah,
And-
I was the first one in my family to go to college.
And the fact that all her uncles went to the wars and stuff and were mistreated and stuff, so.
See, this is the thing, so, I don't know why people have trouble relating to different people.
they
Well,
don't.
if
If
he's
you
here,
sit
we're
down and have a
supposed
cup
to
of
do something,
coffee,
it'll be a little
we
while.
have
No,
more
no,
in
he's
common
supposed
than
to
we
come in
don't.
and
that we
take part
don't
two.
have in common.
I
He's gonna host
see
the second
pictures
part.
of
He's gonna
Reynaldo's
host the second
family,
part,
and
so
his
you're gonna
sisters,
leave?
No, I'm gonna be in here.
But you're gonna be off the
hanging
off
on
camera.
on a Buick, and at the farm, and I got pictures of my family like that. I mean, what can I tell you? I just don't see the problem. It's funny too. Do you want to? Reynaldo and Bonnie and I are forming a Cisco Kid fan club. Do you want to join?
Oh, yeah. You're talking about Cisco Kid, the...
Yeah,
Yeah, Cisco Kid.
Yeah.
she can see it on
I
her
love-
channel
I
on
was-
7:30 on Sunday mornings.
Oh, really?
Every
Oh,
day.
I was thrilled.
He's not here.
Every day at 7:30.
Oh, every day?
Every day.
Well, heck.
Hey, I love the hell out of the Cisco Kid. Are you kidding me? It's funny. That was the first and only Mexican I
Stand up, huh?
knew anything
Oh, man,
about
tell you.
until I moved to California in my 20s.
Uh-huh.
And when I moved to the
So
LA
that's the
area, that's
advantage to
quite a
keeping
blend of
the
culture.
Yeah.
And I went to work and I worked with Chicanos.
But that's also what we're trying to do.
And because of the Cisco Kid,
15 minutes.
it was like old home week, It's,
Oh,
wasn't
that
scared,
was
wasn't.
huge.
It
That
was.
huge.
Do you know that they thought